All of you to You Can Achieve YCA. I started it a bit early today because I have some other appointments today. Uh, and also, I want to do it very early in the morning. That's why the reason behind it is you will get a lot of insights. When you observe all these things, you will get ample time to look at all these things and you can observe things in a better way. So maybe I will do part one of this today, and maybe after a few days, we will do the part two of it, where you can provide some answers to me, or you can share your comments in the comment section so that we can modify from there also, or rather, we can have a discussion based on that. But today, we will talk about why these disasters are happening. Now, the first thing is, why do you have to talk about it? That is a question many might ask. Because it's about the society, it's about the culture, they are suffering. If it had been your private life, we wouldn't have been wouldn't have been interested in that. But the thing is, you are imposing your private issues, your conflicts you have within yourselves. You cannot deal with all these things, and you just throw it to the audience. And also, you don't think about the well-being of the audience because you are not thinking about a value add. I will come to that in terms of business. What do you mean by value add? Rather, you are looking towards only profit. That's why catering to the audience or serving the audience, that is the lower priority, that is of lower priority. Whereas audience, যদি আমি বলি, one of the most important stakeholders, customers, you are not treating your employees right. Sometimes you are just giving them rewards. ঠিক আছে, তো সেটাও আমি একটা ম্যাট্রিক্স করে পরে বলবো, রিইনফোর্সমেন্ট কি, পজিটিভ রিইনফোর্সমেন্ট কি, হোয়াট ইজ নেগেটিভ রিইনফোর্সমেন্ট, হাউ ডু ইউ গিভ দ্য রিওয়ার্ডস অ্যান্ড বেনিফিটস, and how does it help in building the motivation of an employee. But if it happens in a very superficial level, which happens actually in most of the cases, that's why you see these shallow movies. You see people don't get the motivation for the work. So superficially, you are giving a lot of VFX, for example, in one sense, and you are bragging that you have done something regarding VFX. But you are missing out the story because there is propaganda, there are different things. You are imposing some characters forcefully so that they create some perception in the audience's mind. So, in every way, you are trying to manipulate the audience, you are trying to educate the audience in a bad way. This is the only thing you have to know, something like that. Inherently, you are saying that only, but now the audience has awakened. But when the audience is rejecting you, you're going to the OTT or other platforms or other methods you are using so that you just maintain a profit margin or maintain a profit. The ideal way could have been, broadly, you could have made the profit margin, you could have made the profit. Obviously, it's a part of your business. You are investing, you are incurring some cost. But who told you to incur that cost in this bullshit way? That is the first thing. But since you have done that and you are in the so-called business area, you expect to have some profit or revenue. That's fair enough. Really good. But apart from that, you are not thinking about your customers. So you are just escaping and taking a different route so that you can just make some profit. Right? So that thing is gone now. We are doing modern business in India now. And we have a lot of respect for our culture. And we don't want our youth to get misguided. That is also, these are the main reasons, like very few reasons, and there are many others you will get to know gradually, because there should be a suspense or thrill in that. Otherwise, you will lose the entertainment value. So you will learn in the process. But the thing is, this escape won't work anymore. You have to respect your customer, your employee, you respect or not, it doesn't matter to us as a culture. If that person is coming to the society and vouching uh, for something greater, they might get some help depending on the circumstance. But when you come to the society, when you are giving something to the society, you're offering, you don't offer anything, you just throw. But if it is an if it is something you are offering to the society, then the people will be concerned about it, right? So things have changed. Let's see how we can look at it. When we talk about movies, what are we talking about? Since we have already talked about the basics of business, when we are talking about cinema or movies, I'm talking about the world class best standards, not about some cheap people who are doing it in their own way. So I'm not talking about that. So let me just start with that. They understand, this is the theme of the session today. They understand the way they want to understand. Not the real meaning of it. Even sometimes they intentionally use different languages like Urdu and other languages so that your English gets distorted. I'm just mentioning few examples. Yeah, it is only based on that, but I won't be biased because this has to be very objective. We are talking about substance, we are talking about content, we are talking about quality, right? Not the real meaning of it. This is going to be the theme of today's session. They understand the way they want to understand. They understand the way they want to understand, not the real meaning of it. Now, in the real meaning of it, when you look at Sanatan Dharma, Indian culture, gradually what you are doing exploration with curiosity. Exploration you are you're doing a pursuit, you're doing with curiosity, right? You're asking questions. If something is bad, you are asking questions. That's giving you a scope for further innovation or further progress, right? And also when you don't like something, then you are open for criticism also. So you can take criticism also in a very healthy way, in a constructive way, not blaming anyone, not taking any escape route. Audience is bad, my stakeholder is bad, I just want to make profit. So the approach is like, stakeholder is bad, I have to make profit. Don't you think it is very childish? From there you can understand, this is, we talk about sense of duty and sense of responsibility. Ultimately, who is the audience? Countrymen, big market, the audience, countrymen, marketplace. Cannot ignore, right? So you don't have any sense of duty or responsibility. This is very naive. Stakeholder is bad, I have to make profit, or one of the stakeholders or few of the stakeholders, they are bad. I think if you are like, customers matter, you manipulate, give a hype. Now let me tell you something in this regard. Sense of duty and responsibility is the most important thing you should learn from this, because that is not there. Otherwise you would have taken a different path. So this is giving you a continuous conflict. And rather than facing What you are doing, imposing it on audience. Again, who is your audience? Your countrymen, your marketplace. They are giving you the money, they are buying your offering or whatever you are providing. How can you ignore them? So we talk about stakeholder map. If we look at stakeholder map, so then you can go to the, in terms of business, you can go to the stakeholder map. Now we will take this case study approach in different ways. We will look at it from the social scientist point of view. We will look at it from the entrepreneurship point of view. But you can understand that we are talking about two things. We are talking about cinema, where we are talking about creativity, we are talking about entertainment, we are talking about aesthetics, so on and so forth. And we are also talking about business, where we are talking about different functions of business. Obviously, we are talking about revenue, we are talking about profit, and we are talking about value add, so on and so forth. So, these are the two aspects broadly we will talk about. And case study approach, you can think of it as social scientist, you can think about it as, you can think about it as, think of it as entrepreneur, you can think of it as an approach of a researcher, whatever it is. Different approaches you can take, different role plays, but that will converge to, if you are doing it in the right way, they will converge at the same point. That is why I am saying real meaning of it. Again, if you understand enough, if you are doing higher education, you will understand no matter whatever approach you take, that will come to the real meaning of it. But since you are blind, that you understand the way you only want to understand and you want to impose it to the audience, you won't realize it, right? The moment you give yourself a chance to ask questions, to do that exploration with curiosity, with ask, you can ask the relevant questions, you can take criticism properly. What does it mean? You're growing, growth as a human being, as a culture, and most importantly, as an artist. Okay? And as a businessman too. You cannot ignore the fact anymore. I will just take a 30-second break and then I will come to the next one. I think you can just keep there for it. Okay. So I will just move on because time is a very crucial resource. Can't waste it becoming lazy. Since it is a recorded video, you can just look at it later. Okay. Now, as I already mentioned, we will look at it from different points of view. Cinema. We will look at cinema, where we are dealing with creativity, we are dealing with entertainment. Now, what is entertainment? If your audience or part of your audience or a large section of your audience, they get bored, is it entertainment? But you are selling it as entertainment so that people, more people can get bored. So you are just, it is like alluring the customers to see something crappy. Understand what I'm saying? You're just alluring the customer using manipulation techniques. That's the mindset. That's the basic mindset. You're alluring the customers to see something crappy. An audience get bored eventually, or some people might enjoy, but that's a very small section of the audience. Creativity, entertainment, then we talk about your aesthetics. Then, if you look at the business part, what do we do? We do the functions of business. Let's talk about the functions of business. We have already talked about. Acha, এটা কে একটু just give me 1 second now. Functions of business, let me just continue. In the meantime, I will do something else, but let me just since I'm in the flow. So functions of business, we will talk about marketing. We have already talked about marketing, and selling is only one part. Selling is a subset. You have to understand that selling is a subset. HRM, very important. You have to understand labor. What does it mean? POM, ito ছেড়েই দিলাম, because you are making the movie. You are making the movie. That's okay, but there is, you are making the movie, so entirely what it is happening, it is like the industrialization, industrial, what is it? Okay, sorry. You're just making the movie, so it is becoming like the industrialization approach, assembly line movies, right? So it is becoming like assembly line movies. Assembly line movies, not thinking of the customer. Can you imagine how, if someone, the problem is, if somebody talks about assembly line movies, you will talk about Henry Ford and these people. But they created the Model T or whatever car they created, that was for the benefit of the customer, so that they could afford a car. That was the reason. That's why the mass production happened. Now you are using the assembly line technique or something very similar. The processing is there because you are actually coming up with a lot of movies. So the number of movies is not an issue. Number of movies, not an issue. That is there. You are getting the people together. Your crew is there. They are getting paid. Your crew is there. Sorry, your crew is there. You are getting paid. Everything is there. But you are not thinking of the customer. It's the issue is of quality, content. It is not there. ठीक है. And then to data to I won't talk about because you are blind to many things. But these people are blind to many things, so we won't go there. But since I'm talking about the basic part of business they are concerned about, marketing, HRM, POM is there very much, but you are not understanding how to efficiently use your resources. That's another thing. So that's why you are scattering a lot of your money. I mean, come on, you have to understand, in 50 crore you can make a movie. In 400 crore, you can make a movie. 3,700 crore, you can make a movie. An audience will see where the money went. If you look at LOTR, in 2003, they came up with something super super special effects, right? But they didn't compromise with the story. There was a story. That's why we still remember it. At that time, it was so ahead of time. We didn't compromise with the characters. They didn't compromise with the story, whatever it is. The conflict, the plot unfold, the story unfolding, the plot progressing. That's why that stay with you. Those characters, they stay with you. That story that stays with you, that conflict that stays with you. If you are now, if you want to be Golam for the rest of your life, continuously you are in a conflict, agitated mode, then that's a problem. But you cannot do it to the society, right? So that's why you have to understand what value you are providing to the society. You have your business. Obviously, you are spending, fair enough. You are incurring a cost. You want revenue. You want profit. Obviously, fine. But you have to provide a movie, right? You have to provide some value. Where is the movie? You're coming up with a movie. Sometimes it's an amusement park movie. Sometimes this is like amusement park. Like in the parks, young couples go to have some fun, love affair, maybe some good time for love. You're making movies for that. They can see it there also. Where is the story? Only two characters enjoying a love story. Where is the story? Where is the conflict? Now, if you don't understand the conflict enough, then how will you guide the actors? through those different emotions, and how they will understand. How will they understand? Will they understand that? That's why you should introspect now. It's very important time to introspect. Whatever I am telling, this is like Bain, BCG, McKinsey consulting approach. We are looking at it from the constructive point of view, from the business perspective, from the cinematic perspective. So you should enjoy that also. Even if something is wrong, you should enjoy that somebody took that effort to guide us, which can illuminate us, or which can give us some insights the way we are wrong. Sometimes mentors do that, sometimes friends do that, sometimes many other people do that, our relatives do that, different aspect. I am not one of them. You have to think about that also. But as a fellow citizen of this country, I think you should introspect now. Okay, just give me 1 sec. When you show, then all these things don't matter, right? So if either you want to learn from something, as I started with, so what I do is, let me just finish it off. Uh, this is a very short introduction. I will keep it in part one, but you understand the theme of this. If somebody is helping you, if somebody is giving you some knowledge, for example, books, you imagine that there is a sect of people who don't like books, who don't like reading books, unless there is a specific book. They don't like to. They don't like people to read books. That mindset come from there, because books, when you are reading books, you are actually indirectly conversing with the authors, great minds. They are guiding you, they are mentoring you, they are shaping you in many ways. But when you discard that very effect, or the impact books can bring to your life, then that is the same mindset we are talking about. From that mindset you make all these movies. That's why reading is also a very significant part of it. You have to read, you have to understand the characters, whether it belongs to our own culture or a different culture. You have to understand the nuances of it. That's why the theme of the thing is, they don't understand, they understand the way they want to understand, not the meaning of it. So I will just end it here, and in the next part two, I will come to different elements of cinema, different sections of cinema, your art direction, your VFX, your cinematography, whatever it is, individual cinema. And in the other section, I will come to the business part also, or maybe in the section, I will do both elements of cinema, both elements. Will take it together so that you can understand everything is there happening at the same time, right?